Joining us today is Chief Richard Beary. He's IACP President from the University of Central Florida Police Department. Chief Beary, thanks for joining us.
Sure, my pleasure.
We appreciate your time. Now, you're wrapping up your term as president. It's coming to a close. This was a very challenging year for law enforcement, but you started some initiatives. First, let's talk about Protect and Serve. What is that?
Well, that was an attempt to show the public what we really do, because while the use of force has captured the headlines across the nation, what we know is use of force amongst law enforcement officers and the public is very, very minimal. And we know that, and it's been documented for many years. So the Protect and Serve initiative was designed to show the positive side of law enforcement, the number of lives that we save on a daily basis, and the things that we do in our communities to make the communities better. And we wanted to make that available and push it out to media and the general public.
Sure, that's a great idea. Now, since you work on a university campus, most of your constituents skew a little younger. So you got tech savvy. Your other initiative is hashtag Why I Wear the Badge. Tell me about that.
Well, again, we know there's some incredible stories of why men and women get into law enforcement, particularly at these troubling times and challenging times. Their stories are what make us the organization that we are. And when we put that out and allowed the tech savvy officers that work all across this country, the responses were amazing. And I'm still amazed at the ideas they come up and their reasons of why they wear the badge. It's a great program.
It sounds it. Now, what piece of advice could you give to chiefs in this challenging time as we've been talking about?
Well, you know, social media is playing a huge part, and unfortunately, most people are getting their news from social media, not media outlets, so they're not getting the truth. So the advice I have for chiefs right now, I guess what I would say it's the 3 B's. Be visible, be out there in the public, be a part of the public. Secondly, be transparent. When something happens, as soon as you can, get that information out there and let the people know. And the last one is be vocal. Be very vocal with the facts. And the IACP, through that Protect and Serve initiative and other initiatives, we have the data out there and the talking points that you need. And we need to make sure we tell the public the real numbers and the real challenges that the men and women who work for us face on a daily basis.
All right, let's talk about another initiative you've started. Speaking of being tech savvy, cybercrime. It just seems to go up exponentially every year. So what have you done to fight that?
Well, that was one of my initiatives going into my year as president, because we see that as the future. As I've traveled the globe this year, there's 2 major threats to every democracy in this world, and that's cybercrime and financial crime. So our initiative puts that information out to the men and women of law enforcement, gives them tips on how to investigate. There's tips for prosecutors. So it's a great initiative to help people with this new emerging technology and how to deal with it. The big challenge we have is the laws haven't caught up with the capabilities of our thieves.
And that's where trying to stay one step ahead of those criminals really comes in.
We have to. We have to keep figuring out new ways, because it's like a football game. We come up with a new defense, they come up with a new offense. So it's constantly changing, and we have to be tech savvy, and we have to be smart on how we investigate those crimes.
That's a good analogy. Okay, before your term ends, there's some important business to deal with. So talk to us about voting and amendments happening here.
Well, here at the conference, it's the only opportunity you'll have to vote. We have a general election for the 4th Vice President of the association, and then we have some amendments. Those amendments will allow us to do the business of the IACP. It'll allow us to do the business smarter and more efficiently. Again, our Constitution was written 122 years ago, and we need some changes to update so that we can be more nimble and more responsive to our members. And that's what those amendments allow us to do.
And quickly, final thoughts as you end out your term.
While it's a challenge for law enforcement right now, 38 years I've been in this business, there hasn't been a time where it hasn't been a challenge. So we just need to continue to do the right thing and remember that oath of office that we took that says, I do solemnly swear to support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States. And if we do that, the citizens will understand and they'll trust us, and then we can get back to doing our jobs the way we know how to do them.
Very good. IACP President Richard Beary, we thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the conference.
Thanks for being here.